and welcome into the midweek edition of Caught Stealing, the fantasy baseball podcast here at fantasyalarm.com. I'm Colby Conway at Colby R. Conway over on X. And with me here is Matt Selz at the Selzman over on X, the author, the penman behind the prospect report. I don't know if penman's actually a word, but
I didn't write it with a pen, so does that count? I didn't write it with a typewriter either, but that'd been cool though.
the keyboard man of the
Doesn't sound
prospect
so
report.
good.
Nope, I tried something, but that's over at fantasyalarm.com. Check it out. We're going to talk about that a little bit today, but Matt, I'll ask you, how are you doing? And we got some big prospect news earlier today, actually, or yesterday, whichever one it was. We're recording this on Wednesday night, but we got great news about one of the prospects we have been waiting for, who should have been up a week and a half ago.
I mean, that's true. I'm doing well. Look, I've been able to watch baseball all like my weekends now are split between soccer and NASCAR and get in baseball, right? And then the rest of the week is basically all baseball. Watched a little bit of hockey last night too. I watch a lot of stuff, right? A lot of sports in the Selz household. So I'm pretty good. Weather's starting to turn here. Nats got a late night win in San Francisco. So, I'm doing. And hey, speaking of top prospect, got to watch him make his debut tonight in Boston. So, pretty cool. Didn't go in person. I know some folks got tickets, went up there. But yeah, still pretty cool when the top prospect in baseball comes up and makes their debut.
And it's good that he had that week and a half down in the minors to go ahead and make 3 errors across 90 innings of work down in the minors. But he's okay to come up 10 days later. So at that point, it's not like I was going to make a joke about he went down there and, man, that those 10 days of ground balls really helped. But goes and makes an error at short in a couple of appearances, and he got 2 errors at second base across 72 innings of work in the minors this year. So he wasn't down there for his glove. So I'm not saying it's nothing. I'm not saying
everybody wants to rag on him. You realize that he spent 400 fewer at bats in the minors than Gunnar Henderson.
He should have been up there 10 days ago.
The only 2 studs that have come up recently, I say recently loosely, that spent less time in the minors, aside from like Nolan Shanuel, who's not really a stud in my opinion, than Jackson Holliday. We're talking he's at like Bryce Harper and Juan Soto levels of at bats. Both of those guys had less than 450 at bats in the minors, or around 450 when they came up. So, look, they're running real baseball teams. I know everybody in the fantasy world wants the newest, shiniest, best object prospect to come up as soon as they hit a home run in spring training, right? They were like, oh, that guy's blasting bombs in spring. He should come up. Well, they're running real life baseball teams, right? They want to extend the value of their guys for as long as they possibly can. I don't blame any team and owner that wants to get the most value out of their valuable pieces, right? Because here's the thing. Everybody wants to talk about, they're milking the service time with Jackson Holliday. You realize that tonight they are fielding a baseball team, a starting 9 in their lineup, in which one guy hasn't spent the majority of his career with Baltimore? Ryan O'Hearn in the Orioles starting lineup tonight is the only guy who hasn't spent all of his career with Baltimore. Granted, Jackson Holliday's career is about 7 minutes old. Okay. Gunnar Henderson last year. But can we give Baltimore credit for being able to keep their homegrown talent in place? I mean, the guy who's hitting 7th tonight, Colton Cowser, first round pick in 2021. The guy who hit 8th, Jordan Westberg, first round pick in 2020. Guy who hit 9th, Jackson Holliday, first overall pick in 2022. They have 3 back-to-back first-round picks. And then you have, by the way, Adley Rutschman, who's hitting like 5th in the lineup, who is the number 1 overall pick from like 2018. So they're keeping their guys. I'm never going to fault the team for doing that, to be perfectly honest.
I agree.
They won 101 games
But that's a separate point. Why was he down there for 10 games?
Because it gets them another year of service time.
Yeah.
I
don't like it. I'm putting my fantasy hat on. I'm taking off my realist hat on. I'm taking my realist hat is off. My fantasy hat is on. It's BS. He should have been up there 10 days ago. I get it. I do. I say it in jest. I get it from reality's perspective.
So do you want Paul Skeens to start in the majors this year as a Pirates fan?
Well, I mean, that's a separate conversation. I'm scared to death of Pirates pitching prospects. I am scared.
Well,
I'm scared to death of that situation. If I'm being honest.
And to be perfectly honest, I think Heston would have been the first call up, not Jackson.
Well, technically, if you look at that team, Jackson should have been 5th or 6th. If you look at team OPS from the AAA roster, he should have been the 5th guy called up.
To be honest, I did see a report from a Baltimore beat writer who said that like Colby Mayo, Jackson Holliday, Heston Kjerstad, I think Connor Norby, and one other guy that's down in that group have a group text, and when they heard that Holliday was getting called up, the response from the group was 1 down, 4 to go. I was like, but there is a legitimate argument that by like June, the Orioles starting lineup could be nothing but 25 and younger.
It's an embarrassment of riches.
It's
in Baltimore.
Insane.
Now, to be fair, for the Baltimore fans, you enjoy it now, but there were some rough years, and you can make an argument to their rebuild worked.
Yeah,
there are other teams who tried rebuild that does not work even to like a fourth of what we are seeing with Baltimore putting forth.
They won 101 games last year, and their best players are yet to come up.
Yeah,
they won 101 games and they didn't have an ace.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have Corbin Burns, and they have 4 dudes at AAA who they could trade to go get whatever ace they want because they're not even going to need them.
Oh, that AL East is locked up for a while.
Yeah, Alex Cora, they asked him about the Jackson Holliday call up, and Alex Cora was like, for once, I agree with Alex Cora. He said, great for baseball, terrible for the AL East.
Yes.
I was like, yep. 100%. Window opens now, and it's going to be wide open for the next 7 years for Baltimore.
Obviously, in most leagues, considering that like Jackson Holliday he was getting picked like 150, 160, 170 in drafts. He's probably not available in any league. So it's kind of worthwhile to kind of worth us talk about if you should pick him up.
Although I did see one of our subs outbid their brother-in-law by $1 to pick him up.
We love that.
Because he was going to go at a certain number, and I said that doesn't, I would go aggressive because it's Jackson Holliday. And so he upped it by like another $4 or $5 and won him, beat the other guy out by $1 who turned out to be his brother-in-law. So that's going to be a fun Thanksgiving.
Yep. I would say so indeed. I don't want to spend too much time about this team in the American League Central. Here's what I put in the show notes. White Sox are dead. That's what I put. Yohan Moncada, 3 to 6 months. Who the heck knows with Eloy? And even when he does come back, there's another IL stint probably coming in the future anyway. And Luis Robert is out weeks. It seems like they did get a little bit of good news with Luis Robert, and that it's not going to be terribly, terribly long, or at least it's less than what was first thought. But I mean, this is a bad baseball team. Like, remember a couple weeks ago, we were talking about my bold prediction for the year, and I'm not victory lapping it by any means, but when you look at it, it's like the White Sox win, or they're going to be teams that win fewer games than the Oakland Athletics. What the White Sox are putting out there now, I'm getting more and more confident in that. Like, it's a bad.
I am not joking. I know that this is a hyperbolic type statement. The O's AAA team could smoke the White Sox Major League roster right now.
I would. If when Garrett Crochet pitches, it would be interesting. But when Crochet is not pitching,
correct. When Crochet is not on the mound, I don't know. They signed. They signed Mike Clevenger. Does that help out at all?
Helps out the other team, sure.
I mean, yeah, that's not great, right? It helps them continue to pay child support.
Bad team. That is a bad team. And even when Crochet pitches, it's like 1 in 5 games they have a chance.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a bad baseball team.
It's a very bad, and there's no help coming from the minor leagues. Like
And
Colson
everything that can
Montgomery,
go wrong is going wrong.
yeah, like Colson Montgomery is great. He's a great prospect. There's no reason they're calling him up.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to win 48 games, you call them up, maybe you win 51. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean it's not great. I saw another tweet that said the White Sox must have like been smoted by like a tribal chief or something, like just pissed off some baseball god to no end.
They need to get Pedro Serrano in the locker room. That's what they need. Let him do some stuff in his locker and get things going the right way again in Chicago. And Matt, you wrote up the prospect report. A lot of prospects in there. A couple that have gotten the call that maybe could be interesting for fantasy purposes. And on the show notes here, I just want to make a quick little pun. But Armageddon continues amongst fantasy starters. Framber Valdez, Nick Pivetta. It seems like every day dropping like flies, but maybe there's some prospects coming up that can give us a note. So go ahead and let's talk about your, or actually not. Let's talk. I'm going to let you talk some about some of the names in the fantasy baseball prospect report you got over at fantasyalarm.com.
Yeah, so it I tried to put good juju out there this week on the Monday show. My bold prediction, it backfired. It was not great, to put it lightly. So obviously Jackson Holliday leads off the prospect report. We're not going to talk anymore about him because we've waxed poetic long enough.
He's good. End of story.
He's good. Going to be for a while. Done. So the Astros, to fill in for Framber Valdez, have called up Spencer Arrighetti, who is their top pitching prospect. He's 24. He's got an interesting mix of stuff that probably, if he could control it, he'd be probably a number 3 starter with the strikeout stuff that he can produce. The problem is he can't control it. Doesn't know where it's going. In the minors the last couple of years, he's struck out 11 plus dudes per 9. He's also walked more than 5 guys per 9. Not ideal, right? He got to AAA last year, and he got a little bit hit hard where the ball left the park quite often, which also does not help with ERA and WHIP and your chance to win games. So he's going to have to sort that out to be effective. But they'll roll with him for the number 5 starter. So if you need pitching help, it's a guy with a good offense behind him. If he can go 5 innings, he's got a shot at a win. But there's going to be some bumps and learning curves along the way. Another guy we'll talk briefly about, Alan Winans for the Braves. This guy, as we talked about on Monday, I said that guys were not learning how to pitch. Alan Winans is the guy who knows how to pitch. His stuff is not great. Like, he's got one pitch that's above average. The rest of them are average or below average. He throws 3 pitches. Okay. What he does really well, he controls it and he mixes it well. So it keeps hitters off balance. He's put up 283 strikeouts in 305 minor league innings. He's only got 92 walks. So the strikeout to walk ratio, pretty nice. Less than a strikeout per inning. I know, not sexy, but the guy's got a 108 whip and a 282 ERA in that time. Okay. Not saying he's going to do that in the majors, but he's a perfectly fine number 5 starter on a good team. He'll put up a decent amount of strikeouts. He'll put up pretty solid ratios. Think of him as a younger Kyle Hendricks, a guy who about 5-6 years ago people were fine with as an SP4. Not going to strike out a ton of dudes, but he'll keep ratios just fine. That's what Alan Winans is. He'll probably get a pretty decent run in that rotation. The other downside to that, I guess, is if AJ Smith-Shawver or Hurston Waldrop prove that they're ready, they'll probably give them a shot. But he's a guy you could get, might get some sneaky win upside there. There's some other dudes listed. In there, I did touch back on Blaze Alexander, who I listed 2 weeks ago. Now he's getting more run as a shortstop and a DH because Perdomo's out for 4 to 6 weeks. So if he's still available, he's got a nice speed power combo. Defense might let you down a little bit though.
Would like to see Alexander in there a little bit more against right-handers, but maybe that's coming with time. So just
As long
keep
as
that in
he
mind.
quits having errors at shortstop, he should get more run. But
Yeah,
it's been a rough go at shortstop for him.
absolutely. And then with Trevor Story being out for the year, I'll call out David Hamilton
Yeah,
from the article as well. Go read about the toolsy shortstop for the Boston Red
that
Sox
guy
now that
has
Trevor
an
Story's out.
insane amount of stolen bases in the minor leagues.
Yep. If you need speed, he's your guy. And if you
And
got burned
yeah,
by Victor Scott, go to
yep,
David Hamilton.
there you go. Yep, precisely. He is Victor Scott Light, basically.
There it is. And
Same
Matt,
speed, less hit tool.
right. This, of course, midweek episode. We keep it lightweight. We keep it easy breezy. Cover girl. Flavor of the week here. I'll go first.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go first. So I wrote player props and trying a new restaurant. And to be more specific, going to a restaurant and you may actually like it, but you're torn between two items on the menu, right? There's two things, they both sound good. You don't know which to get. You do the classic ask the waiter or waitress, what would you recommend? They both tell you that both are great because they don't want to give you an answer. So you play that whole song and dance. Whichever one you pick, you're going to get burned. Because unless it's absolutely phenomenal, there's going to be a little part of you that wants that would have like crap, I should have got the other one. I wonder what the other one was. I don't know how many times I can say it, but I absolutely cannot stand trying to decide on a player prop that I like. Do I take the guy's total bases? Do I take the hits? Do I take the hits plus runs plus RBI? It doesn't matter which one I pick because you know what? It's always the other one. It doesn't matter. Do I want the hamburger? Do I want the steak? If I choose the steak, they overcooked it a little bit. Not a great wish. I would have got the burger. It had barbecue and bacon on it. That's what I wanted. Go out there and pick someone. You take two total bases. What do? Of course, they have one single, two walks, a stolen base, two RBI, and a run scored. Blew right past the 1.5 hits plus run plus RBI. But what did this schmuck take? The 1.5 total bases. All he had was the single. Even better, take the hits plus run plus RBI. Guy goes out there, 1 for 4 with a double. No run, no RBI. Cool. Should have picked the other one. When I don't know what to do, do I just order both? I'm at the restaurant. Do I just get both the burger and the steak and say, screw it, I'm paying for it. One's lunch tomorrow, and then hope I hit on at least one of them? It's too early for me to be complaining about player props and base on balls not giving you a total base, which I understand why it's not, but it's BS. I'm in a bad
I'm
spot.
with you. I'm with you on that one. Like they earned it. They should, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but believe me, it doesn't matter whether I pick the burger or the steak or the hits plus runs plus RBI or the total bases or the hits, or I take the run, not the RBI, I take the stolen base and it's a catcher interference. It doesn't matter. I'm going to get screwed either way. So yeah, we're down bad right now, but we're pushing through. At least baseball's on the TV, so we have that.
there you go. Here's a tip, I guess. Why don't you divide your unit into 2 or 3 parts and then put a little bit on each one so you hedge?
Listen, the unit's been divided.
You don't get as much of a return, obviously, because you're betting less than you would. But if you're gonna hit, then you at least make money, which you wouldn't have.
I think what I need to do is just find my favorite player prop of the day. Or stick to offense, obviously. Stick to offense, take the hits plus run plus RBI, the hits, the total bases, just fully load into it and spend one whole unit, divvy it out 5 ways and take their run, their RBI, their hit plus run plus RBI, their total base, and their hits and just say, you know what? I'm all in on one guy today, and that's what it's going to be. I'm getting the burger, I'm getting the steak, I'm getting the calamari, I'm getting the caviar, and I'm getting the oysters, and just get it all. So I like that. I think I'm going to start doing that.
Nice. Mine, I wrote down change for change's sake, ellipses, diet. So
Ellipses.
Oh,
is that the 3 periods are called?
Yes.
Oh, I'll be darned. I thought you were talking about that event that happened this week or something.
Oh, the eclipse.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah,
it didn't cross my path, so I didn't get to see it. So
there you go.
can tell how much I care about
ellipses is the three periods. Is an ellipses.
I don't know if I knew that.
Well, there you go. Learn something new every day. It's one of, I think, 14 punctuation marks that have a name. I don't know what all of them are.
Grammar's so much fun. I love grammar.
Yeah.
Except I didn't know ellipses, so I don't know how much I can really say that. Anyway.
Well, there you go. So a couple of months ago, I started Noom because I've been dabbling in trying to get back in shape instead of round, go more cylindrical, right?
Mm.
And so that's caused me to change some of the stuff that I eat and the way that I eat it and the amount, right? I didn't just make a change for change's sake. I made a change for a purpose, trying to lose weight, trying to get back in better shape, be more active, whatnot. Where am I going with this? Don't make a change for change's sake in fantasy baseball. Don't go, oh, this guy's out there. I just want to change it up, even though they're supposed to kind of do the same thing, be the same player, right? Don't just swap out one middle infielder for another one if he's going to give you the same thing that your first one was supposed to give you. Okay? I get if there's injuries or you're trying to cover a guy who is slumping so bad they just lost their spot in the starting lineup. I get it. But don't go, ooh, there's a power hitting infielder, but I have a power hitting infielder. Both of them are doing so because let's put it this way. If that power hitting infielder who's available was actually doing something, he wouldn't be available. Right? So I understand the temptation as well. If this guy starts to hit, then I get all of his good stuff. Okay, but if the guy you drafted also starts to hit, you also get the good stuff. So don't make a change just to make a change just because, oh, it's fun to make moves in fantasy baseball and I want to be active on the waiver wire and I'm impatient or whatever. We are on April 11th here, folks. Technically, when we're recording this, it's April 10th. We are like 2.5 weeks into a 26-week season. And I get it. If you have playoffs, your playoffs may start in July, whatnot. We're still in the beginning of April, right? You still got like 4 months until playoffs start. So, we're not just making moves to make a move. Okay. I'm not just changing up what I'm eating to change up because I got tired of what I was eating. I got tired of what I was eating because it wasn't doing well for me. Losing weight. If there's a guy available who gets you a different stat that you don't have, go for it. But if you're swapping out one power hitter for another power hitter who's not hitting anything, it's not worth it. You're not gaining anything.
We get to do flavor of the week on the podcast because we get to do that. Fantasy baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. We're not setting weekly teams. I guess technically we are setting weekly teams, but we're not trying to flip over the roster on a weekly basis because we're trying to ride the hot hand. If you want to do it with one spot on your team, fine. Rotate a bench guy here and there, make some moves, do it that way. But it is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yep.
That is fantasy baseball in a nutshell, folks. All right, Matt, let's wrap up this episode, put a bow on it, head into the weekend. Good success last week with waiver wire pickups and weekend streamers. So let's run it back. Let's do it again. I'll go first here. My waiver wire pickup is Spencer Turnbull. He's 54% owned in Fantrax League. So we'll be on about half. And on ESPN Fantasy, you can get him wherever the hell you want. You have no competition. Who knows? You might be able to get some even bigger names than Spencer Turnbull over on ESPN Fantasy Baseball Leagues. But Turnbull is pumping the zone. He's getting ahead of hitters. If I'm not mistaken, his first pitch strike is up over 70%. With that, he's generating swings out of the zone. And of course, he's about a year late, but he's added a sweeper into the pitch mix. That pitch so far through a handful of starts, 200 batting average against and a 33.3% whiff rate. And if I'm not mistaken, he does get a Pittsburgh lineup this weekend that, while can be a little bit potent, does have a little bit of swing and miss in there. And he does get Pittsburgh this weekend. But 2 starts to begin the year against the Reds and the Cardinals. I'm looking at it here, 13-1 strikeout to walk ratio across 11 innings of work, with those starts coming against the Reds and the Cardinals. Spencer Turnbull, go at him if you need some pitching help. And hey, I know you need pitching help. Every single fantasy baseball player needs pitching help. There's no way you've dodged every single injury thus far. You need some pitching help. Go look at Spencer Turnbull or...
Yeah, I'm going to double dip here. I'm going to kind of go snake draft it here with the waiver wire pickup and then the streamer. It's, hint, the same dude. Okay. Jordan Wicks for the Cubs. That's Wicks with a W for the Cubs, not Hicks for the Giants, who pitched today and is not as available as Jordan Wicks for the Cubs. He's available. He's owned in 57% of Fantrax leagues, so a little under half he's available in. And for some reason, you people on ESPN have been slacking. He's available and he's only owned in 3% of ESPN leagues. Okay, I know he's a soft tossing lefty. I get it. They're not sexy. You know what it is? His results. He's got 13 Ks in 8 2/3 innings across 2 starts. He's put up solid numbers. Those 2 starts he's had so far, by the way, come against the Dodgers and the Rangers. Not exactly the 2 easiest offenses to face. He's struck them out pretty well. The next team he faces, hint, they strike out the most in baseball right now. Seattle. He gets Seattle on Friday. So that should put him in line for another solid start the following week. So he's both my streamer this week and waiver wire. So I get it. Kind of defeats the purpose of streaming, but he's good enough not to just be a streamer. Everybody needs help with pitching. Jordan Wicks isn't going to lose a spot in that Cubs rotation. He's just not. It's not like they got a bunch of injured dudes that are coming back that are going to take a spot. He's there. They drafted him to be in the middle of their rotation. That's where he is. He's getting pretty nice run support. Can get you some wins. Jordan Wicks should not be out there in that many leagues.
Last week, our streamer theme was old veterans who were good in 2019, and we're trying to trot them out there here in the first week of 2024. This week, it's soft toss and lefties because I'm in the same camp there. I'm going Tyler Anderson. Gets a start against Boston during the weekend. Most likely will come on Sunday. He's available in over half of Fantrax leagues and only owned in about 12.5% of ESPN fantasy leagues.
Wait a second. You're telling me that Tyler Anderson is owned in 4 times as many ESPN leagues as Jordan Wicks?
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
You people on ESPN have lost your mind.
Boston's about league average in terms of batting average against lefties, but they do strike out a good bit against lefties. Do I think that matters with Anderson? No, because he has 8 strikeouts to begin the year. But what he does have, 2 straight quality starts with 7+ innings and no runs. So he's got 14 scoreless innings to begin the season, using his changeup a little bit more. It's been a better pitch for him through the year. So he's not going to help you in strikeouts. I wouldn't plan for anything more than probably 4 strikeouts against Boston, but he should go out there, limit that Trevor Story-less lineup. And honestly, at this point, believe it or not, when it comes to this Boston lineup, if you cannot let Tyler O'Neill kill you, you might be okay.
Yeah, also Baltimore has, I think, the best bullpen in baseball right now in terms of strikeout to walk ratio, in terms of ERA to start the year. Their bullpen's been fantastic to start the year. So if he leaves the game with a win, there's a decent shot that they can hold it, unlike most of the other bullpens in baseball right now.
Tyler Anderson, good one to look at there, along with Jordan Wicks, couple soft toss and lefties, and you do need pitching help. Spencer Turnbull is there for you as well. Of course, head over to fantasyalarm.com. Check out Matt's fantasy baseball prospect report. Sometime later this week, Howard Bender should have the waiver wire article that'll come out for you as well. So make sure you check that. And then I'll also have the fantasy baseball injury report updated because I'm about to sprain a finger typing all of those darn updates that happen in that article every single week because everyone's getting hurt left and right. Head over to fantasyalarm.com, become an all-pro subscriber today. Join the Discord. Get inside the brain of Matt Selz at the Salesman. What would he do in your situation? Do you have a trade question to run by him? I'll also be in there as well as all the other great folks here at Fantasy Alarm. So make sure you like and subscribe here. Give myself a follow over on X at Colby R. Conway. Matt Selz is at the Salesman. And we will see you at the beginning of next week. New scoring period with the newest edition of Caught Stealing.